That particular swing I didn't hit quite as good, but you can still see it was still another 10 to 20 yards longer. It's like magic. That's where club fitting is so important. Just how can we improve our iron game? Well, I bet if you're hitting one less iron into the green, that would be a great start. Not every golfer can pick up distance with their irons just by swinging faster. In fact, you probably will lose distance because your timing will get off. However, there is one way to improve distance with your irons, and that is through loft, specifically dynamic loft. And I'm going to take you down a journey here to improve dynamic loft through 3 very simple steps. Dynamic loft is simply how much loft you present on the club at impact. And it can be improved through 3 very simple steps. The first step is shaft lean. So specifically, how that shaft is leaning at impact. The other word for that is compression. The second simple step is through face angle. So whether the face angle is open or closed at impact. And the final simple step is through the type of irons that you're playing, specifically the static loft on the iron set that you get fit into. I'm Thomas Campbell. I'm a PGA teaching professional and also a playing professional based out of Minnesota. And I can't wait to teach you and help you improve dynamic loft with your golf game. What we're about to do in this video is we're about to test those 3 simple steps. I'm going to hit some golf shots with the shaft leaning forward and backward and just show you the difference in distance. I'm going to hit some shots with the face angle, face closed and face square. And I'm also going to hit some shots with call it game improvement irons versus more traditional lofted irons and just show you the difference in loft. Okay, let's get after it. Let's hit some shots. Before I do, please subscribe to this channel. My goal here is to simply have content for you guys every week. So stay tuned. Step 1, compression or shaft lean. This is going to be the simplest method if you can understand the concept. Essentially what we're going to be changing here is at impact, a lot of golfers coming through at impact, the shaft is more straight up and down. So for example, my 7 iron has 33 degrees of loft on it. A lot of golfers believe they need to present 33 degrees of loft at impact. That is not true. At impact, we want that golf shaft to be leaning more forward at impact by several degrees. And that is compressing the ball, where the hands get to the ball before the club head. A lot of times people believe the club gets to the ball before the hands. And you can see the difference, and that influences compression. Okay, so I'm going to hit a couple of shots here where I'm going to try and recreate, call it about 33 degrees of a dynamic loft at impact, and just show you, call it probably hit about 150 yards. And then I'm going to swing at about the exact same speed, and I'm going to have my shaft leaning more forward at impact, and just show you how we can pick up those 10 to 20 yards pretty easily here. Okay, so first, let's hit a couple of shots where at impact I am just kind of feeling like the club head's getting towards the ball before the hands. And the ball, what you'll see on the screen is the ball hit higher on the screen. Actually, it's launching higher and then coming in a little steeper. So let's see what distance we get here. And what actually happens here is you'll catch it a little bit thin as well. So if you're hitting it low on the face, like that one there was pretty low on the face, because as I was coming through, it wasn't as compressed. So that one, because it was thin, it was a little bit lower on the dynamic loft, but still high, still at 29. Carried 141, going 156. See if I can actually get one where I hit a little bit more solid. There we go, that was a little bit better. So that one here had 34 degrees of dynamic loft at impact. I mentioned my 7-iron has 33 degrees of static loft on it. And you'll see total distance of 142, swinging at about 80 miles an hour. So if you're seeing 140 to 150 with your 7-iron and you swing about 80 miles an hour, this is going to be huge for you. I'll hit one more here. Hung back on that one. All right, so that was right about 30 degrees of dynamic loft, and that carried just shy of 150 yards. Okay, so on those particular swings that are coming through, I was trying to feel like the shaft was leaning back this way. What a lot of golfers tend to do. If you're looking on camera, it might look a little more straight up and down. We want to now move those hands to feel like the hands are more in front of your left knee at impact. And we'll do that right now. So those 3 swings I hit first, I was swinging about 80, 81 miles an hour, and I had about 31 degrees of dynamic loft. I'm going to now try and swing this same speed, but for me the feel is going to feel like my hands get to the ball before the club. So it's going to look a little bit more like this coming in at it. And we'll just pay attention and see what happens to the dynamic loft. That definitely felt a lot more solid. Whoops, I gotta move that green back. And that was a little faster. That was 84 miles an hour on the club speed. So it's 3 miles an hour faster. However, 165 carry going 178. Yeah, let me move that green back here. Okay, so now the green is set at about 170 yards. And I'm gonna need to slow it down just a little bit. That was just under 84. And you see, carried one, just shy of 170. Slow it down a little bit more. And it is hard for me to slow it down because what I'm actually doing is I'm transferring my weight more onto my left side, which is giving me a little bit more power. That particular swing I didn't hit quite as good, but you can still see it was still another 10 to 20 yards longer. Let's do one more. Okay, so that was 81. That's what we're looking for there. And you can see that carried about 155 on the distance. So let's just look now and see if we notice any differences in the distance. Okay, so I was swinging about 2 miles an hour faster when I was compressing it. It wasn't intentional. It's because I was actually now getting my weight a little bit onto my left side. However, you'll notice 2 miles an hour of club speed is not going to equate to 21 yards more distance. So that's the huge important thing here. What changed is the dynamic loft. Dynamic loft was 10 degrees less at impact, which caused more distance. And I'm going to say right now that a 21 degree dynamic loft is a touch on the low side. I just wanted to show you how shaft lean can influence total distance. We actually want to get an optimal carry and total distance when we are club fitting. Okay, so that's step 1. That's compression. Step 2 now, that is going to be focused on face angle. So if the face is open or if it's closed. So if a club face is open at impact, what happens is you're actually also increasing dynamic loft. If the face angle is closed, you're also decreasing dynamic loft. So let's just look and see what we notice with regards to distance with a face a little more open and face a little bit more closed. So I'm going to intentionally try and feel like I'm leaving the face open coming through. Alright. Definitely not very good on the distance. On that particular swing there, my face was open 8.9 degrees to my path. So definitely went over there towards the right. So what you're seeing here is if you're fading the ball or slicing the ball also goes shorter as well. 81 mile an hour club speed. Right. Another one right about 81 mile an hour club speed. 147 yard total, and that face was 7.6 degrees open to my path. There we go, left the face open on that one again. Yeah, so you get the idea. If the club face is more open at impact, it's going to also go shorter. When that club face was open, I was presenting 31 degrees of dynamic loft, so close to the stated loft. Let's see what happens now with a closed club face, trying to swing about 81 miles an hour. So it's 83 miles an hour club speed. Obviously, the direction's not great, but what do you notice about the distance? That was a lot less dynamic loft there, and a lot more total distance. So a closed club face will also result in more distance, or a lower dynamic loft. That one there was a little bit heavy. You can see still a little further than the open face. So that was a little bit more of a square face. And you can see distance there at 81 miles an hour, up to about 170 yards. There's another closed club face at 81 mile an hour. Alright, so we're definitely seeing a big differences in here in distance. Let's pull up the graph just to take a look. So what we're seeing here with an open and closed club face is significant distance again. And where we're seeing about a 12-degree difference in dynamic loft from about 31 to 19. When the face was open, 31 degrees of dynamic loft. When the face was closed, 19. And you can see I was swinging actually the exact same club speed, right at 81.7, 81.9. However, you'll notice carry distance 20 yards longer with a little more closed face. And we're talking almost 30, that's 27 yards of more total distance with a slightly more closed club face. Now, I'm not saying having a closed club face is a good idea. It's going to go left of the target. It's also going to probably fly a little bit lower than we would like. All I'm showing you here is the differences in how dynamic loft can be changed by changing face angle. We obviously want to try and get that dynamic loft lower with the face angle a little bit more square. So a combination of both shaft compression and the face being improved, not as open, will also get you a little bit more distance. Or combination of compression and the face maybe being more square versus closed might get you at a little more better optimal trajectory. Okay, the final way is through, call it game improvement irons. Now, as I mentioned, the irons I play has 33 degrees of loft on the 7 iron. If I was to grab, for example, more game improvement iron that has 3 or 4 degrees more loft on it, we should see that that static loft will also give us more distance. I've already hit some shots, but I can do it again with maybe a more square face in what I would normally do with my swing with the T100, and then what I'll do is I'll hit the T350 and show the differences. Okay, finally, now we're going to compare traditional lofted 7 iron versus a more game improvement or user-friendly 7 iron. And just looking at the specs, this T350 has about 29, 30 degrees of loft statically on it. The T100 has 33 degrees of loft on it. So we're seeing 4 to 5 degrees. Let's see if that actually changes the dynamic loft by 4 or 5 degrees. Okay, so just hit a couple of normal swings now with my 7 iron. And try and swing around about 80 miles an hour again for you. So it was 81.2, 158 carry on that one, and loft about 23. Loft might have been just a touch higher on that one. Let's see. It was a pretty good swing. 162, 24 degrees of dynamic loft. So you'll see carry 161. Alright, 84 mile an hour club speed. Carry about 160 there. Okay, so that was with a more traditional lofted iron. What I would normally expect to see when I'm hitting my 7-iron at swinging at 80 miles an hour. Now, I typically swing at 90, and I usually carry the ball 180 yards, but I wanted just to show you that. Okay, so same swing here, trying to swing about 80 to 82-ish miles an hour club speed. Same exact swing. Let's see what happens. Alright, that was just a little less than the swing before. In speed, holy carry distance. And you would expect the dynamic loft to be down a little bit, 19.6. It's like magic. That's where club fitting is so important. Yes, a lot of people might say, well, it's just a 6-iron with a 7 stamped on it. Well, it can be partially true. However, these clubs are designed to get you in the optimal carry and total window. We're talking about landing angle, we're talking about height and spin and all that stuff. So we're trying to find a way for you to pick up a little bit more distance. So yes, game improvement iron. Some golfers typically need a little bit more help. That's 81.7. Didn't quite hit that one as solid. That was a little bit off the toe. You can see total distance was definitely up a little bit more. 19.7 on the dynamic loft. That one sounded a little bit more solid. Yep. Yep, a little bit more carry distance. Okay, let's look at the numbers here really quickly. So with the game improvement iron, you'll notice I was swinging almost 2 miles an hour slower. However, you'll see distance-wise, the ball was carrying 6 yards further, and that's just through that dynamic loft. When I was hitting it, there was a 3-degree difference in dynamic loft. So typically we see every degree of loft is around about 2 to 3 yards. Obviously, it still doesn't include where you hit it on the club face. If you're hitting it off the toe or hitting it fat or thin, that's also going to influence distance. I'm not perfect, but this education on data is probably going to be enough for you to understand these 3 different ways to influence distance through dynamic loft. What I find also very interesting is we're also getting more full speed, even when I was swinging slower. So that's important to do with dynamic loft as well. So very interesting stuff. So that's it. These are the 3 steps to improved dynamic loft on the club. And you saw it here. I was picking up 10, possibly 20 yards more distance when I was swinging at the exact same speed. Just as a summary again, right behind me you can see here, when the shaft was leaning backwards, the ball only carried 140 yards. When the shaft was leaning forward, the ball carried 158 yards, so 18 yards more distance. You saw it with the face open, the ball carried 138. With the face closed, the ball carried 158, 20 yards. And then finally, what we notice here, through just a little bit of club fitting, with trying to present the club the same way at impact, we saw a difference here in 3 degrees of dynamic loft, picked us up 6 yards of carry distance, and what you actually notice is we didn't actually sacrifice anything in the total distance. What I mean by that, the ball stopped nicely for us. But that's going to be a conversation to have with your club fitter based on your particular swing. But yes, these are the 3 different methods. Ideally, I think I would prefer being a little bit more compressed over the other, and obviously the face more square, rather than having the face closed to make up for the hands back. And then obviously club fitting is a huge important piece to it too. You have to be playing the correct clubs for you. Let me know your thoughts. Subscribe to this channel. Also, let me know what kind of video you want to see next. Thanks for watching.